start your do not disturb room.
Nope, forgot to do it. It's Wednesday and we live. It's Wednesday and we live. It's Wednesday and we live. Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Wednesday and we live. It's Wednesday and we live. It's Wednesday. Y'all know we gotta celebrate being live, honey. Okay? Cause y'all know over here, this one like to sleep. We be having a lot of work to do. So what's going on, y'all? Welcome to our live. Y'all know I'm Carla.
Sean.
Alright, what's happening? So we got a special announcement for y'all. We will be live. Y'all been asking us for a schedule. Y'all have been asking us for a calendar. What's up from Boston? We see you, baby. Y'all been asking us for a schedule. Y'all been asking us for a calendar. So we will be live every Wednesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's in our bios on TikTok. It's in our bio on Instagram. So make sure that you set your calendar to make plans to join us, and we'll be live for 1 hour. And so the goal is for us to just talk things, and also Q&A, right? So you can engage, tune in, comment, let us know where you're tuning in from, and then when we get to the Q&A segment, definitely put your questions, make sure they're clear, concise, so that we can answer you accurately, and then we'll go from there. You want to take a moment and greet everybody, baby, and say hey?
What's up? What's up? She always do that.
Because I'm the opener. We know I'm the opener.
She always do that.
What's up, South Carolina?
She
What's up,
already know.
South Africa?
All I'm going to say is, hey, how y'all doing?
Okay, well, I'll stop doing that. So let's
I'm
get
just
into it, right? Because y'all know we're all about being intentional. And, babe, there was a conversation we talked about having, because we see like this common thing now where red flags during the dating process or in relationships are being ignored. So that's what we're gonna kick off and talk about. What's up, North Carolina? We see you. All right, so let's talk about these red flags. The first one, we're gonna let y'all know what we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna talk about red flags in relationships, and then also how to communicate more effectively. So we're going to give you some strategies, some conflict resolution strategies, because we know it's a whole lot going on in these streets, and we just want you to cultivate healthy love and know that you're worthy of it. Okay. All right, so let's get into this red flag conversation, baby. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah. All right. So, hey, as normal, as always, we always saying stuff on our social media, Instagram, with these couples, relationships, celebrity couples especially. Relationships, we feel like, oh, everything is smooth. They so happy one day, then the next day, oh, they getting a divorce and smack each other, right? Look, one of the issues is we're not paying attention to those red flags at the beginning. And it's the small things too that we don't pay attention to. We kind of look over it because we're like, oh, maybe, they just felt some type of way that day, or but I really like them, so I can let that slide. I really like them, and then by the time you get into a relationship, y'all get serious. They doing the same thing that they was doing when you first met them, but now you kind of irritated by it, right? And it's like, nah, I'm not feeling this. This is not what I expected from you. But a lot of the times, a person show you most of the time who they are before you even get serious. And I know it's kind of harder now, especially if it's someone that you meet online. It's like, how can I see those red flags? Because I'm not really around them. I met them online, so we really just had conversations. But it's also in those patterns, right? It's also in those conversations. If we really pay attention to those conversations and things that they are focused on talking about, right? Or things that they don't want to talk about, that they do not want to address. Because getting involved and dating someone and hopefully going to that next stage of a relationship, you want to be with someone that is willing to be open and honest with you, even if it's talking about the past. We hear a lot of people be like, I don't want to talk about the past. The past don't matter.
Yes, it does.
I don't want to talk about my past relationships. Nah, I want to know about your past relationships. I want to know about your childhood.
Your history.
Your history, because it'll help me better understand you and the things that you do that I might not like, right?
And so let's get into what some of those red flags look like. But before we do that, I want to say this. We're all worthy of healthy love, right? Even with us being in this process on this journey, some of y'all have seen us on this journey, and I get it. Some of y'all are like, so y'all, how do y'all identify? Like, our thing is love without labels. Like, you just love who you love, and the soul of that person is the soul of that person. It's really not about gender. It's not about, just giving yourself the liberty and the freedom to choose, right? And then also, what I am seeing and observing is that so many people are infatuated with the idea of love, right? So you can be a person that's all about love and relationships, and you want your person, and you can want something so bad that you will ignore things. Like if one red flag, like if somebody called you 52 times back to back, that is not cute. Popping up at your job, I just thought I would. Those can be signs of possessiveness, right? But we don't see it like that. It's like, girl, look at this. He don't call me 52 times. That is not cute. Right. Like I said, I was gonna call you back, or you ignore the call because you talking to your mama or you talking to your doctor, and you call him back 52 times. Like, that is not okay. Or levels of aggression. So we want to make sure that first, we have a healthy perception of what love is. The average person has not seen healthy love model. So that's how we end up in so many toxic situations, because we're calling toxicity love, right? I get it. We had Baby Boy, we had Yvette and Jody, you know what I'm saying? Now it seems like, and y'all know I don't like to call names, but now it seems like we got Kurt and Rashida, and I'm just like, what is happening here? Like, we teach people how to treat us. You understand? And so a lot of things that you're seeing on social media, these things can seem comical, but you got to think about it. These are people's real lives, right? And so this is why we always tell you, like, listen, we definitely want to be or hope that we are a pillar of hope for so many people, but your relationship should be your favorite. Like, don't idolize us. We're imperfect. We're going to make mistakes. Sometimes we get it right. We get a lot of things right, but then there are also things that we get wrong, right? And so the transparency of that process. So let's get into some of the red flags, right? Y'all know did y'all watch the 52 episodes? I think 52 is my number tonight. Somebody better play it. With Risa Tisa. It was so many red flags in that message, right? But we ignore them because we so want to be married. We so want to be in a relationship. And so the hope tonight is that we can help you to be sober in the dating process. Be sober within your relationship. So, baby, we had to identify some red flags. And y'all put them in the comments, too. What are some red flags that you feel that we should bring some attention to tonight?
Well, kind of like the one that you hit earlier. Like, calling, like, all day long. Right? Whether they know you're at work or whatever, and they are constantly calling or texting all day, and you have not responded yet, okay? Or you have not been able to get to your phone. And then when you finally get a chance to talk to them, then they have an attitude right off back, okay? Because that is a sign of control, okay? And like my wife said, that right there, we kind of think it's cute at the beginning. Like, oh my God, they really like me. Like, they calling me all day, girl. Nah, like that joke about to control you, okay? And then like somebody said, like even popping up to your house, popping up to your job, especially in the beginning stages of dating and getting to know each other. Like, you have to get to a place where you start out setting boundaries. So to me, a red flag is any boundary that you set and they do not respect. Okay? Because we all have different things that may be a red flag to us, right? We have different things that we can tolerate, things that we can't tolerate. So it's about you really understanding yourself and understanding what you do and you don't want in a relationship, and honoring that for yourself. And the minute when you see those red flags at that beginning stage of something, any form of disrespect or something that you feel you can't get with, then it has to be acknowledged. Like they have to be held accountable and have the conversation, because sometimes, you know, it could be a red flag to you, but maybe in their previous relationship it wasn't no big deal, or maybe that thing was expected in their previous relationship. So we're not saying just cut them off when there is a red flag. However, we are saying address it, because it could be something that they thought, I thought women like this, or
I thought that was okay.
You know, I thought that was okay, but I'll work on it, and then go from there with them working on it. So it ties into communicating as well. Don't just let things slide and look over it and continue on, and then later on down the road, after you have gotten into this committed relationship, now you want to talk about it when it was kind of okay at the beginning. I mean, we've had those similar issues early on in our relationship. When we were first kicking it, some of them things we just let ride, you know, and then, you know, a couple of years later we want to talk about it. Well, shoot, you all right with it then. What happened? Okay. So, and then that just bring on a whole nother spill of things. So to me, I would say the red flags is anything that you don't want, or you don't
anything that can
or
raise
anything
the eyebrow.
that triggers you, right? Because we all have our own triggers as well. So anything that may trigger you from something that reminds you of something negative in the past that you've experienced, and you see that in a person, pay attention to that thing, okay? And don't have that thought of, well, maybe everybody's like this. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe this is just norm. Nah, if it affects you, if it triggers you, have that conversation.
Right. And that's just like, you know, some people have been in abusive relationships. So your life experiences can evolve into life lessons, right? So if you know, like, the way they touch you is important because you have been physically abused, or let's say, you know what I mean, and that's a trigger for you, it's important to establish non-negotiables. Like LaShawn knows, don't yell at me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a thing for me. I do suffer from PTSD. So when you get too loud, I get anxious because of some things that I've experienced within my childhood. And so there has to be a certain level of sensitivity. But along with that, we have to be vulnerable, right? We got to be willing to be vulnerable. Now, these are different stages of the relationship, you understand? So, but I think that before we partner up with people, it's important to identify what are my non-negotiables. Right? We see there's a difference between, and let's talk about this. There's a difference between compromising and settling in a relationship. Compromise is where we meet in the middle to satisfy both parties. Settling is where I really don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that, but you do this, so I'll keep this. Like, you a good provider, but I don't enjoy the sex, so I'll compromise. I settle in this relationship when you know you're a sexual person. Or you get what I'm saying? Like, that's just an example. Or what's another example? It's so many. It'd be so much stuff going through my mind. But settling versus compromising, y'all know what we're talking about, right? And we see this a lot. Like, we're not even moved when we hear people be like, oh, we've been together 30 years. I got questions. Like, what has transpired in these 30 years? What have y'all been through? What have y'all overcame? How have those experiences brought y'all closer together? Is that 30 years of fidelity or 25 of infidelity? Like, do y'all still sleep in the same room? Do y'all still... You know, because we can get a little intimidated or you know, oh, I so admire them, but you don't even know what you're admiring, because a lot of what's online today is not real. What I've learned is that social media is an illusion thereof, right? This is why all this drama and all this stuff is at an all-time high, you know what I mean? So just think about the difference between, so first of all, identifying red flags. That's something that's very important, right? Red flags in a relationship. Don't ignore things. If something is unsettling to you, communicate. Your feelings matter, right? And what we're also learning, we're going to get to that, is not always what we say, but how we say it. Right? So we understand red flags. Pay attention to those things that make you feel uneasy, things that make you feel triggered, things that make you go, things that make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Right? Because you do have people that will question your intelligence, and y'all got to just be careful out here. And then understanding the difference between compromise and settling. We compromise in our marriage, right? Because we are two individuals who have different perspectives, we have different experiences, but we meet in the middle. So it's okay, babe, like LaShawn I don't, fake cooking isn't my favorite thing to do, but I know he like to eat, so we compromise. Okay, I'll cook about 2-3 times out the week. Other than that, I'm gonna go pick it up from the restaurant, but you gonna eat though. Baby, tell them how they're doing
saying
good.
nothing about that. So also,
tell them why you ain't saying
that. Whenever I'm not saying anything, because whenever she cook, she be like,
we about to talk about it now.
Make sure you let people know that I cook, because you're always telling people that I don't cook.
I'm just saying.
I'm like, babe, I ain't said that in forever.
But let me say this too, though. But that's another point, right? Make sure that your celebrations are just as loud as your complaints. Come on, y'all. This is relationship tip 101. We talking about relationships. Sometimes we can criticize, but then the celebrating isn't as loud as the criticism. I'm finished.
And I'm like, Joker, when was the last time I criticized you? I don't be telling nobody.
That comment wasn't for you,
but
baby.
it was.
It actually wasn't. I was making a point.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so I mean, it's just one of those things of compromising. Like, my wife know when I get off work, when I get home, I want some time to myself, whether it's take a nap or just detox from my day at work. So, and she could be here all day and not talk to nobody and be ready for me to get home so she could talk. And she wants some people time. And I'd be like, babe, I don't want people time right now. I done had it. So we had to get to a place of, compromising with that. And it's understood. So yeah, it is a difference. Now, if it was at a point where it really affected her, that I didn't want to spend time with her, then that would be her thing. Like, I don't want to settle for this, right? It's all about, the most important thing is, and I think what we don't do enough, is really understanding ourselves. Really understanding and knowing what it is that we want and what we don't want. We're so busy looking for love that we haven't even figured out how we want to be loved.
Come on.
Right? So then when we go and we get involved with all these jokers that's not loving us the right way, we don't even know how we want to be loved in the first place. Okay? Because we done seen so many other jacked up relationships in our life that what do I want? What is the norm?
Because we usually know what we don't want. I don't want a relationship like my mom and my daddy, or I don't want a relationship like that. But if you are constantly focused on what you don't want, you're actually going to attract what you don't want, because that's where the energy is going. That's good, babe. Keep going. Focusing on what you do want.
Yeah. Because, it took me a minute to realize what it was that I wanted in a relationship, because I was just so busy anyway worrying about the other person, worrying about what they wanted, what they needed in the relationship, and I didn't even know what I needed. Like, there used to be a lot of times when my wife would be like, so what is it that you need from me? I'd be like, nothing. Because I don't know.
And I would be like, that's not accurate.
Because that was like my main focus, but it's also a part of how I was raised. Like, the way that I was raised, most of the men, that's what they did. They just provided for the woman, and that was it. The only thing I knew that the women did was cook. So that's why I was big on cooking, when we first got together. Like, that's all I need. Just feed me, and that's it. But then I had to realize, I started to learn more about myself. I started to question myself more. Like, what is it that I need? What is it that I want? from my wife, because she's always asking me and I don't know. So before, we jump into these relationships and getting to know people, understand what it is that you want. Don't just go by, oh man, like they social media page, they look good as hell. I have got to slide in that DM. What are they talking about on social media?
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Are you paying attention to the things that they're talking about? Is it
how are they presenting themselves?
Yeah, how are they presenting themselves on social media? Okay, can you relate to some of the things that they're talking about on social media, or is it just the way that they look and you got to shoot your shot? Right?
Oh, can I say something about that?
Yeah.
And I want to talk to the ladies, right? Whether you're here live or you're watching the replay. For those of you who are like, I am ready to settle down, I'm looking for my person. Let's change that concept, right? Like, I think it was Devon Franklin that said something, and it was very powerful. Sometimes you don't look at the message or just listen to the message. And he was talking about, oftentimes we say we're ready for love. We're ready for love. He said, but are we really ready to receive love, right? Because depending on what your goals are and what it is that you desire, you can't be out here saying, I'm looking for someone to take me serious, I'm really looking to build something with someone, but then when we slide on your social media, it's back shots, it's you half naked, there's no type of pull, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're attracting what it is that you're presenting, like that in which you're marketing, whatever you're marketing, that's what you're going to attract. And there's no shade. I'm like, hey, do you by all means. Just know that when you do you at that capacity, that is what you're going to attract. You're going to attract people that just want to hit it. You're going to attract people that's going to, not handle you with care or treat you like a lady, because when they go on your page, they don't see a lady. They see booty, and you get what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, hey, that what I realize, that go both ways now.
Guys,
like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing guys. I'm like, all I see is just guys in their Speedos. Like, what is going on here? Like, bruh, like, cover up. Like, so it's a lot of that now, where I guess, we're doing what we feel or draw attention to ourselves and get people in our DMs.
Be the wrong attention.
But that's not the attention that you want, right? Mm-mm. You don't want someone that just, shooting their shot because, dad, you look sexy. Like, you look good. Like, and then y'all get to talking and you really ain't got too much in common, or they can't even spell. So, like, like I'm just saying, okay? So, really, like, when it is, because I know now a lot of dating starts from social media.
Yeah.
So when you are scrolling down your news feed on social media, or it's someone that you eyeing and you're like, you know what, they look pretty dope, see what's on their social media. That would give you an idea of what they think about, where their mind is. Even read the captions. Okay, I like, like when there are people and there are no captions, just they ain't got nothing to say, just pictures, but there is no caption, no, like, I don't know. What you got to say? Like, talk to me. Like, because I want to know I want to even know how you talk. Like, you know what I'm saying? The way that, you word things or represent yourself. All of those things. So I'm just big on stuff like that. I don't know. I guess because I'm old school. So I want to know a little bit more about you than your looks. Because guess what? Believe it or not, looks fade.
Yep.
Right? Because we're going to get old. Okay? I hope I, stay like this for the next 20 years. But I know around about 70 probably. Depending on how stressed I get. But probably around about 70, I'm going to have a little bit more wrinkles. Right? I'm trying to hold on for the next 30 years. But looks fade. Things start to hang and, sag a little bit. I ain't gonna always have these muscles. I don't know. Unless I be like, Sylvester Stallone or somebody and still, be here.
But you know what? That's something to talk about too for us to highlight tonight is there are so many people that's focused on the right now. Like the right now, but you're not thinking about the longevity of that relationship. Like when LaShawn and I got together, I had had just had my 30, I was 30, turning 31. I think I was 31.
31.
Yeah, I was 31 and LaShawn was 37.
Right.
I'm now 40, he's 46, right? So I just crossed the new milestone of turning 40. LaShawn will soon be 50. And so, no, we just, every time I say that, he always go there. But I'm being honest because when you think about longevity in relationships, right, it takes time to get to know a person, right? How a person handles grief, how they handle losing a job, or how they handle life transitions. All those things matter. How they handle stress and duress, how they communicate. When you get upset, do you just shut down? You know what I mean? And so make sure you're not misunderstanding what we're saying. Your perfect person doesn't exist. Right? Because you're even imperfect. Right? But what you want is, okay,
someone that can compliment.
Someone that can compliment where you can grow together. Like there are certain things that's just non-negotiable. Like I remember back in the day, it was, when we talked about this list, what do you want on your list? Y'all, we was putting stuff like the complexion you wanted them to be, how tall you wanted them to be. Everything was surface level. Eye color. Right? We're not talking about their character, their integrity, money management, family oriented.
You talked about money,
their
but
faith.
You didn't talk about how they manage money.
You get what I'm saying?
You just wanted somebody that made money. Yeah.
Right. And then we also have to make sure that the expectations that we have for others, that we meet those same expectations, because we'll have standards for our partner and the other person. We want them to be here, but we down here. So we have to make sure, if I have an expectation of honesty from you, then I need to be an honest person. If I have an expectation of respect from you, then I need to be a respectful person. If I have an expectation of, some people, you want the person to be fit, that's fine. But when the last time you've been to the gym? You get what I'm saying? So we got to make sure that we're not living in this fantasy world. And remember, like when you get together and you get with someone, it's really about building a life with this person. So you got to think beyond sex, and you got to think beyond physicalities, and you really have to tap into those things that can sustain the relationship or sustain the marriage. Right? And so even going back to something that Baby said earlier about self-love and really understanding yourself, even now, like whether you have a partner or not, do the love language quiz. Like learn what your love language is, right? Your love language is how you receive love. Right? Because in relationships, oftentimes there could be a partner that doesn't feel love, and you're like, but I buy her flowers every week. Well, acts of service or gifts is not her love language. Her love language is words of affirmation. Yep. So you can go spend all the money in the world, and I'm using that example because that was us. Right? That was us at one point. Like we were not showing up in each other's, we weren't expressing love in each other's love language. We both brought certain patterns and mindsets and behaviors over from previous relationships and thought what worked over there was going to work over here. Right? So you could be buying all the flowers or doing all of those things, but if that person's love language is quality time, then you got to show up in their love language. Also, attachment styles. Attachment styles are so important. We talk about this with our coaching clients all the time, knowing your love language and your attachment styles. And there's depth that goes with it. But for the sake of time tonight, we're just sharing on the surface level. But your attachment style, that has to do with how you show up in relationships as well. Anything you would add there, baby?
Yeah, and that's true because, like, I think when we finally decided to do, like, the attachment style quiz, it was like, wow. We kind of already knew by that time.
Yeah.
Like, we had already, like, figured out, okay, how we going to work this thing out and work around the meet in the middle. Because we were complete opposites of the spectrum. But we were able to, work those things out. And I like with that, I wish that when we got together, that we knew about those things, that we were able to, take those type quizzes, the attachment styles and things like that, because it would have probably kept us from dealing with a lot of stuff that we went through and that we dealt with. So it's very important. I know a lot of people, or people is like, well, if I'm just meeting somebody and I'm just, we're just talking, just dating, is that too much? Like, but why put yourself through all of that? That's just like if you get a job and you go through the whole training process, you're on probation for 90 days, and then you done learn all of this stuff and you just quit. So you don't put all your work and
Well, you
effort.
never asked how much money you were making.
Well, they better tell you that.
Or I'm just using that as an example. Like,
but you done put all of that energy into training and watching all these videos and doing all of this work, filling out all of your benefit forms. I mean, you done did all of this. And then soon as you get past your training period or your probationary period, you like, you know what? I don't want this job. Like, damn, you done wasted a lot of time in that process. So it's the same thing with getting to know somebody, getting, into a relationship. So I feel like it's very important to ask certain questions, to really ask those deep questions, because we having conversations about everything else. We having conversations about the debate. We having conversations about sports. We having conversations about what is popping on social media. We talking about other couples. We talking about all of those other things, but we're not going beneath the surface and talking about each other, like, what it is that you need, or what is it that you experience, that you're going through, what type triggers do you have, what is it that you're looking for in a relationship, what do you expect from your partner. And then you get into this relationship and now all these expectations come up and you be like, wait a minute, like I can't do that, like I don't want to do that. But that's because you never talked about it.
And we have to have those hard conversations. We got to have those conversations that are uncomfortable. But we know now we're 30 minutes in. And so we want to get to the Q&A segment of tonight's conversation. So we had talked about red flags. We talked about the importance of communicating, your non-negotiables, settling versus compromising. Do you have any questions centered around tonight's topic? If you do, put it in the comments for us. Put it in the comments. The growth between the two of you is everything. Keep it up, my friends. Thank you so much. Uncomfortable conversations lead to closeness. Absolutely. Yep. When vulnerability actually can heal relationships. When you want to curate and cultivate a healthy relationship, there's no space or room for ego. You gotta be completely transparent with your person. So if my partner won't let me see their phone, is that a red flag? I think for my response, that could, and we've been that, so I think that could be either way. It could possibly be a red flag or it could be a boundary for them. But I'll let you go, baby.
Yeah. I think it kind of depends, like, because we have individuals who, and I'm not saying that you're like that, but we have individuals that just want to go through a phone just to see, you know what I'm saying? Or, if you just decide, babe, let me use your phone to check out this or check out that. And then if it's like, no, don't touch my phone, I don't know. You may have to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Right? But if it's just a constant wanting to go through somebody's phone to see if they are doing something or if they are cheating, then you got to question yourself, why don't I trust this person? Like, why do I want to go through their phone like that? So it varies. Right.
What if your partner is an introvert and they're trying to force you to be that way, but you're an extrovert? I would say in a relationship, and this is the core, one of the things we teach in relationship coaching is individuality in relationships is so important. LaShawn pretty much is introvert. I'm extroverted, right? Now, I have introvert tendencies. However, being who you are in a relationship is so important. No one should be trying to force the other to be something that they're not. This is how we curate harmony within the relationship. If LaShawn and I were just alike, how could we grow and evolve as a couple?
Yeah, and I think it's a good balance too. When one is an introvert and the other is an extrovert, right? It's a good balance because sometimes the extroverts can be too extroverted, and you like
watch it,
like real. Come on, baby, like just a little bit too much. But we learn how to balance.
Or
each
the
other
introverts
out.
can be boring,
Yeah,
and the
you know what I'm
extroverts we
saying?
liven up the party.
Like
huh?
let's go somewhere, let's do something, and I'm like, I don't want to be around people right now, so we learn to compromise, but I always feel like you don't want someone who is just like you.
Come on.
Like, I mean, you want to learn, you want to grow, learn different things and be challenged, and it's kind of hard to be challenged when you're with yourself.
Right. Someone asked, it went away, but I think what you were asking, is it better to date someone that has the same attachment style as you or a different attachment style? So my response, I would say the attachment styles, like the love languages, is not there for judgment. It's there to provide clarity, right? So ultimately with the attachment style, the goal is to have secure attachment. All the attachment styles are there to show you is the why behind the what of that person. Right? It's not about judgment. Like, oh, you got anxious attachment, then okay, I can't fool with you. No, because usually when you understand a person's story, then it helps you to be more empathetic and understanding, and then you get to choose. Like, for example, we was watching this movie called A Good Man. LaShawn loved these Tubi movies, right? So we was watching A Good Man, and he was a really good guy, but he kept coming across, his wife cheated on him, and then his next girlfriend cheated, and he just kind of lost it. Well, in the midst of that, he was dating this other girl, and he was really having like a case of PTSD while they were being sexual, and he was like a little rough. Well, that was a non-negotiable for her. She didn't care why. She didn't care about his trauma. She didn't like how she felt. That made me feel scared. I told you to stop. You did not stop. I'm out of here, right? Which was a good thing. Thank God.
He had already showed her signs because she had just had a conversation with him about,
right.
So
that goes back to those
acting.
red flags.
Yeah.
So then she paid attention to that and she got out of there, right? So why was I sharing that? You do know I hate when you do that. Like,
we're talking about attachment styles.
But I brought that up for a reason, as far as the why behind the what, right? But when you see certain things, so it's not a matter of it. You need to be just like me in order for us to move in alignment together. But I brought that up for a reason. I can't remember why I brought it up. And LaShawn ain't no help. Yeah. But I brought it up for a reason.
I was trying to figure out where you was going.
You didn't understand where I was going?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I think you was talking about the attachment styles. And how there is no judgment, but you got to know what you can deal with or what you can't deal with.
Yeah, I think that was my point.
Like, because
right.
some things may be like, nah, I can't, it's non-negotiables.
Right.
We're talking about non-negotiables.
Which is what transpired in that movie. So I was using that so you did know where I was going. So that was the example, right? Meaning he was showing some red flags. His attachment style had become anxious because of his trauma, right? And at the end of the day, we all got trauma. And at the end of the day, we all have baggage, right? But we get to pick and choose that in which we can tolerate and what we won't tolerate.
Yep. And that's true. Because, like, I mean, even, and with the attachment style, like, if you have two avoidants with that attachment style, it means that both of y'all are avoiding each other and avoiding the situation.
The issues.
Right? So it is good. Being different is good, right? Mm-hmm. And even with the attachment styles, when they are one or the other, I think my wife, what were you, like, anxious? I think I was avoidant. Mm-hmm. So once we realized that, we were able to understand, okay, now I know why she, reacts the way that she may react, and vice versa. She began to understand why I react the way that I did. So it's not necessarily like a deal breaker because their attachment style is different from yours.
It helps you to better understand each other. What if your partner's love... I'm going to read it like you wrote it. What if your partner's love you're not familiar with because you've never experienced it in either childhood or relationships? So it sounds like you're saying the way that your partner expresses love is a challenge for you to receive it because you've never experienced it. Is that how you interpreted that? Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say?
That is kind of rough because, I went through it. I think me and my wife, because we didn't experience those things. So it was just learning that, knowing, kind of like what my wife was saying earlier, like knowing that you're worthy of it, and allowing yourself to be able to receive it and feel it, because we can get into these relationships and be so fearful that something bad is going to happen, or it's not going to work because of what we've seen coming up or because of our previous relationships. So we don't allow ourselves to receive it. We keep this wall up and keep it from coming in. And my wife always said, when you got that wall, then nothing can come in and nothing can go out. So, it's just understanding. I'm always listening to you. It's just understanding that, you are worthy, and just allowing yourself, just feel it. Okay, I know it can be scary, but feel that love. And try not to focus on, because one thing that we have realized, the more that we focus on the negative, the more that we focus on all of the bad that we experienced, that we went through, and even if we say, I'm not going to go through that, but we're constantly focusing on that, we find ourselves going through that. So focus on that love and embrace it. Like, just learn to embrace it. What's wrong with it?
Someone asked, what if one person listens to respond and not to understand? Then that's a breakdown in communication. So that's where, because here's the deal, it's always there. We were created to be strategists, right? So it's not about, I can't really deal with that, or that's too much. It's about, okay, this has come up, so how do we resolve it? And so that sounds like there are some conflict resolution strategies that are needed. If you listen to respond and not listen to understand, then that's a problem.
And maybe that comes along with, when it's time to have those conversations, look, okay, let's do this. Let's have this rule in place. Yep. I'm going to talk. You're not going to, interfere. Let me talk for 5 minutes. Then after I get finished talking, because then they have no choice but to sit there and listen to what it is that you have to say for 5 minutes, and they cannot interrupt you. So it gives them the opportunity, or you the opportunity, to completely express what it is that you feel, and hopefully they'll get more out of it than just ready to respond and let it be known, like, look, I just want us to resolve this issue. So this is where I'm at right now. This is what I'm feeling right now. And then after you get finished talking, then they could come in and have the conversation. But the goal is to just have that goal set where we want to resolve this. And I need you to listen to me, okay? Because I'm not going to keep trying to have a conversation and you're only listening to respond. I need you to hear me. We got to learn how to set these boundaries and not be scared to say what it is that we need. Okay? And I need you to respect me and listen to me.
And sometimes it's a matter of, knowing when you need to bring in reinforcement. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were certain things that LaShawn and I just couldn't figure out on our own. And so we had to book sessions, and we needed someone that was unbiased to walk us through, because you can be telling your partner something 1,000 times, but they can hear it from someone else and somehow it registers. Yeah. That's just how we are as humans, right? There were things that LaShawn had been saying to me, and I promise you, our counselor coach could say it, and I'm like, oh. He's like, I've been saying this, and I'm like, well, the Bible says one plants, another waters, God gives the increase, honey. But sometimes it's a matter of seeing it from another perspective, and someone that's able to help you see yourself because they hold up that mirror, right? And they're able to provide you with clarity. And so I saw what you said, but what if you set the boundary and it's still not honored? Then when you've done everything that you can do with just you and your partner, then that's why you have people like us who are relationship coaches that are like, hey, let us help you navigate through this situation. Let us help you to communicate what it is that you feel. Let us provide an assessment, and then we start doing the necessary work. That's what relationship coaching is all about. So sometimes you may have to buckle down and suggest and say, babe, will you will you do relationship coaching with me? So,
yeah.
All right. What if your partner's love language is something you're not familiar with because you know? Oh, okay. I think you answered that already. Oh, okay. You're talking about. So what if your partner's love language is something that you haven't experienced before? Like if their love language is physical touch, but you've never experienced that as a child or in a relationship. So, what you gonna say?
I would say tell them to teach you. I mean, I know, with us, there were different things that we taught each other. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay in relationships to let a person know, look, I don't know how to do that, or I don't know how to give
Teach
you
me
that.
how to love.
Can you show me?
Show me
What type of physical touch that you love. Like, do you love it when I come up and grab you? Do you love it, when I rub your feet? Do you love it, when I kiss on you? So it's okay to ask those questions to understand what it is that your partner want or what they need, especially when it comes to something that we're not familiar with. Who's better to teach you than the person that need it, right?
And that's where vulnerability has to come in, where you say what you just said to us, hey, babe, I realize this is your love language. And not making excuses. Like, can you show me what that looks like? Sometimes you need to ask your partner for examples. We do that all the time in our sessions with our clients. Like, they'll communicate. They'll say, well, this person, my partner is not doing what I want them to do. Okay, well, what I want them to do is this. Okay, but what does that look like? And when we ask them, well, what does that look like for you? They can't communicate it.
Yep.
Well, the reason why your partner's not doing it is because you're saying you need this, but you can't provide an example of what that looks like. So if you don't know, how you going to expect them to know?
Yep.
Right? This is why we always say relationships are for grown people, because I feel like in our marriage, I grew up in our marriage. I feel like both of us did. We both matured in our relationship.
Yes, you did very well.
You did too.
Great job.
Great job.
Yeah. Wear me like a church.
How do I not? Oh, I'm so proud. I love that question. How do I not look like a boy on social media if I use my platform to document parts of my life? Basically, you're saying, like, I'm thinking that you're saying, how do I represent myself well on social media? Like, I want to appear to be attractive, but I also want to display my authentic self of who I am. What would you say, baby?
Yeah. I would say, like, just for one, like, tap into that, or even if it's like other people that you may look up to or respect, you can tap into their page and just kind of get like an idea, like, okay, I like the way they talk about this or talk about that. It's just
or
it's
the type
different
of pictures
ways.
they post.
I'm big on that, like the type of pictures that they're post. Shoot, I go to Google and look stuff up too, like just coming up with different things. You can even use AI sometimes if you don't really know what to say, but you feel something but you don't know how to say it on your posts and things like that. You can go to AI, and put in how you feel about something, or what if I feel this. It'll give you like an idea of things of what you can say that better represents you. But I would say just be real. Like, be honest about, what you're feeling that day. What may be on your mind that day. Little snippets of yourself. Even if it means, like, I know with me, sometimes I don't be knowing what to say. I might have one sentence on my personal page, but I may attach a song that resonates to me, and what I'm feeling that day. So you can use certain songs on your post that may represent how you're feeling. But I would say at the end of the day, still be true to yourself. What about you, babe?
Yeah, and I want to make sure we're clear. It's not, if you're an attractive person, you're an attractive person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to dumb down being attractive. Now when it's a matter of what you said, how do I stop attracting the same type of people? That goes back to that's inside, that's internal work that has to be done. Right? Like there was, like, with, for example, with me being a healer, I would constantly attract broken people into my life because that I was comfortable with that. It's like, okay, I'm used to working with broken people, but then I had to start saying, okay, that's for my profession, but boundaries for my friendships. I need my friends to have a certain level of healing. Da 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 da. So if you want to shift or change that in which you're attracting, then the first thing we have to do is change our response. Right. Just because someone is attracted to you don't mean you got to respond to it. Mm-hmm. And when you are a positive light and you are positive, you have positive energy, you're going to attract the good and the bad. Mm-hmm. You're going to attract all kind of things. So don't take it personal as an attack on who you are if you're attracting certain things. And I know that may sound a little different from what I was saying earlier, but to balance it out is when you are a good person, you got good energy, you're going to attract good and bad. You understand? Like when you a giving person, you're going to attract people who are good as well, and then you're going to attract people who are manipulators who will try to take advantage. But the point is not taking that as a dig on who you are, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. All right? I feel as though I make people better for the next person. So that if you feel like you're making people better for the next person, then sounds like it might be some red flags that are being missed. Right? Mm-hmm. Sounds like there may be some settling. When things start looking familiar, start paying attention. I always say when we want to attract different, we have to show up different. And I'll say this, I think we was talking about this privately. Y'all, nobody wants to date their mama. Yeah, we're going to end with that. Nobody wants to date their mama. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I am nurturing and I am loving, but I ain't trying to be LaShawn mama. Right? So, some people in relationships, the one that is more of the feminine characteristic can just try to be everything to that person. You probably can say it better than I can. We've talked about it privately. What would you say? Yeah, like, even because I think that's a good point to make tonight.
Like that's very important. Like, and I get it. Like sometimes when we have people, I'll use myself for example, right? Because of the relationship that I had with my mother coming up, right? It was interesting. So I ended up getting involved with someone who, well, like my mom, okay? Like nurtured me like a mother should. And I needed that during that time, but it didn't feel like a relationship, right? It felt more so, it wasn't like that fire that you get when you in a relationship with someone and you have that spark and that flame. Is more like a parent type figure. Okay. Mm-hmm. So and that's one of those things, and I feel like it goes both ways, because a lot of times they say a girl go out here to find somebody that's like her dad. Okay, but in all honesty, she end up cheating on the guy that act like her dad, because that's not what she's attracted to. We're not attracted to our parents, believe it or not. Okay, so you want to be careful with that, and I know some of us have like catering spirits or nurturing spirits, and we just come in and we just want to cradle. Don't cradle a grown person. I'm gonna tell you right now, do not cradle that person, okay? Because in all honesty, deep down, truly, we want someone who is gonna push us, who's gonna help
Hold
us
you
be better,
accountable.
who's gonna hold us accountable. Who now, if they are narcissists, it might not work out like that, okay? But hopefully you'll recognize that and leave. But if it's someone, who desire those things, then that's what they want. Someone gonna push you, and and you understand and you realize we're equal, like we're here. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that there is chemistry.
That is so important.
Chemistry is very important in a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I saw when you said you had another question, said I met someone, but she feels like she's out of my league. How do I not self-sabotage? See, that's another thing that we'll do, right? In friendships and relationships, when it's toxic or it's something that feels familiar, we'll embrace that, we'll engage that. But then when it's something that is different from what we're used to, we'll say it's out of our league. So I would say first change your language, right? When we begin to clean up our spirit, we'll start attracting some different things. So change up your language. Don't say she's out of your league, right? Say I am worthy. Like change the conversations or change the things that you say about yourself. And then the other question somebody asked, when you know that it's really over, how do you leave? And somebody said that's real because I can leave physically but still be trapped emotionally. It's a process. What would you? That'll be our last question tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it can be rough because I think a lot of times I don't even think it's really when you feel like it's over or you have reached that point where you're pretty much over the relationship, but you still have those emotions. I don't even really necessarily think it's the emotions. I think it's the comfort that's keeping you there. It's the comfort keeping you there. It's the not being familiar of, what's going to happen moving forward. The thought of being single, the thought of having to date somebody else. So then you start to question, should I leave?
Start over.
Or, should I stay? Maybe it'll get better. So you kind of linger. You kind of stay there hoping that things will change or, it'll get better. But if you have already left that relationship, and I think a lot of times too, I want to say when you are no longer feeling that person and you're no longer in that relationship, I feel like if it's just because I saw you say you're still there, like you may be gone physically, but emotionally. If you're still there emotionally, that means that there's still love. That means that there's still emotions and feelings in that relationship. So if it's only a physical thing, is that important enough to leave a relationship because of the physical?
No. I think what I interpreted from that was, like, for example, let's say the relationship is over. Like, you exited, like with this person, I left a 6-year relationship a month ago. It's a process, just got to take it day by day. So, meaning she might have physically left that relationship, but you're still left to deal with the aftermath of those emotions within that relationship. And so that's what we call unpacking, right? Then you have to unpack or detox, right? Spending some time with yourself, unpacking those emotions and processing what happened, assessing a healthy assessment of what transpired. What part did I play? What did I learn? What did I tolerate? And then that's going to help you establish your non-negotiables and how will I move differently going forward.
Yeah.
Right? And so we want to offer you guys something tonight. So for those of you who are interested in relationship coaching and you've never worked with us before, you can use the code BETTERUS. It's all caps, BETTERUS, right? You get 20% off when you use that code off of a relationship coaching session with us. And that's, you go to lawrencelifecoaching.com. So you can schedule, and our relationship coaching sessions are 90 minutes, right? Our life coaching sessions are 60 minutes. right? So now to go to the next level, because we can kind of, asking questions are good, but if you don't have both parties there to receive, to hear out the subject matter and to receive assistance and guidance and direction, you're kind of be like a hamster on a hamster's wheel, just still spinning your wheels. So we want to offer you the opportunity to work with us, schedule a relationship coaching session with us, and our website identifies it as relationship coaching, and put in the code better us, all caps, BETTERUS, to get 20% off. And then if you want to schedule a life coaching session with myself or LaShawn, we have a code for you there. And also with the life coaching, you have an option if you're like, hey, I want to meet with both of you, or I want to meet with either one of you. Does the code work for life coach? It's a different code for life coaches. So to get 20% off of a relationship coaching session, it's better us, BETTERUS, right? To get 20% off of a life coaching session with us, the code is Transform 2024. TRANSFORM 2024, right? And then if you're someone where you're a returning client, if you worked with us before, maybe it's been a while, shoot us a message, because we do have things that are available. If you're looking on the website, we do have special things that we offer those who have worked with us before versus just going on the website, okay? But if you're new and you've never booked a session with us, to get a relationship coaching session, they're 90 minutes for you and your partner, right? You save 20% by using the coupon code Better Us. And then if you've never booked a life coaching session with LaShawn or myself, right, you just select the life coaching option on the website, and it's use the code Transform 2024, and you get 20% off. All right. So we will be live tomorrow as well. So we'll see you guys back. We go live Wednesdays and Thursdays. So we'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right.
And hey, if any one of you, have any topic or anything that you want us to hit and talk about, just, shoot us a message and, we'll talk about it. So don't be scared. Like, just, give us some things to talk about to see, what's going on out here in the dating world and relationships and things. So
to meet you where you are.
Yep, that's right.
All right.
So,
y'all be
have
blessed.
a good night.
See you tomorrow. And I also